Hello everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we are doing a Q&A on all things work and school. I'm going to cover everything from my Nike internship to my full-time role now and why I'm getting my master's and a little bit more about my program. A lot of the answers to these questions are on my TikTok, but I also know it's hard to go through all the videos on my page. So hopefully this video will just include every question that you have and I will go into a bit more detail for each one. I also just want to preface this by saying this is all my own personal experience and it's been a few years since I interned, so I highly recommend checking out the internship page and the Nike career site for the most up-to-date information. So I asked you guys for questions that you had about work and school and I've tried to group them into categories. So just starting off, where did I go to undergrad? What did I major in? And my academic background. So I attended University of Oregon, which is about 2 hours south of Portland, where I grew up for most of my life, so I was pretty close to home, and I was a public relations major with a minor in business administration. I absolutely loved my time at the U of O. The School of Journalism and Communication is an incredible program, and I loved my time there as a PR major, even though I didn't end up in PR, which I will get into. I did come into Oregon knowing that I wanted to work for Nike at some point in my life in some capacity. I just didn't know when or what area I really wanted to get into. I thought I wanted to do something in communications, but I really wasn't sure. I grew up with Nike in my backyard, obviously growing up in Portland. My dad worked there for quite a while and he retired before I went to college, but it's always been in the back of my mind. However, I really wanted it to be my own unique experience and not an extension of my family's or just because I grew up in Portland. So I wanted to make sure that it was something that I actually wanted to do and really had an interest in. I also spent a lot of time in my undergrad focusing not only on my academics but also getting involved in clubs and things that interested me to keep building my resume. And I'm going to show you what my resume actually looked like when I applied to the internship to hopefully give you some ideas on what you could add to it to stand out. The next questions surround what the process of getting the internship was like, what my resume looked like, the interview process, etc. The summer going into my junior year of college, I decided to study abroad. I did a business program in London, which was incredible. And so the summer going into my senior year, I knew I wanted to get some sort of internship or work experience. I just wasn't quite sure in what area. And as I moved through my undergrad, I realized I didn't really want to do traditional PR. It just wasn't something that excited me, but I did enjoy some aspects of the communications classes I was taking. So I didn't want to change my major and lose the credits, but I just wanted to understand what I actually enjoyed and then focus on those skills rather than the traditional PR route. So I started looking for internships in other areas, and then I actually have a screenshot of the email I got about when the Nike recruiters were coming to campus. I'll insert a photo just in case your school is also going to offer this event. I know that recruiters do travel to quite a few campuses across the country to recruit, and I thought, why not? I'm just going to go and meet them and see what opportunities are available. So I went to the business school and I connected with a recruiter there, and I said, hey, do you guys have any internships in the communication space or anyone I can get in contact with in that area? And she told me they don't have any communications internships right now and that I could send them my resume to see if there was another position that might be a good fit. So I sent over my resume. I'm gonna insert a photo of what it looked like. Like I said, I was pretty involved with a lot of things in college. I was interning at the School of Journalism and Communication events team, and then I actually created my own multimedia agency, and it was completely student run. I was doing a lot of recruiting and hiring and interviewing, which is why when the recruiter saw my resume, she reached out to me and said, hey, I actually think you could be a really good fit for the HR internship. And at the time I was like, I don't know anything about HR. I don't know if I could do that. And she was the one rooting for me saying, you have this experience and I think that you could at least try it out. So I thought, why not? So I applied to the HR internship online, had a full extended interview with that recruiter, and then she moved me to an interview with the hiring manager, which was the next step in the process. And then I interviewed with the hiring manager and the team that I was going to be a part of. So it was a group interview, and that was the final interview. I then got my offer to be placed on the talent attraction team at Nike, which honestly worked out so well. This team was in charge of the Nike LinkedIn and the career site, so I got to do a lot of work around talent attraction, but also strategic communication and writing, so it was like a perfect blend of my skills, and I absolutely loved my internship experience. The program itself was super hands-on and there's a lot of networking opportunities, and I really do believe that whatever you put into your experience, you're gonna get out, and that goes for any internship, not just at Nike. Most of us interns were assigned a project to work on for the summer on top of what we were doing on our day-to-day. There were a lot of networking opportunities and really fun events to go to, so you really got a taste of what it was like to work there full-time. And then at the end of the summer, you presented on your projects and findings. I wanted to make sure that I got the most out of my experience, so I put in a lot of work to make sure that my project was really well done. There are a ton of details on the Nike internship page about what it's like to be an intern. There is day in the life videos on YouTube and LinkedIn, so I highly recommend checking those out, and I will also link a few of my TikToks where I've talked about this more in depth. The next group of questions are about how I got my full-time offer, what was it like to convert to full-time, and things of that realm. So at the end of the summer, I ended up getting a full-time offer. This was based on a variety of factors: the feedback that I'd gotten the whole summer, how well I performed on my project and in my day-to-day, and then also other variables like were there positions available and things of that nature. Not every department converts all of their interns, so it really just depends on you and your team. So after the summer ended, I went back to U of O to finish up my senior year. I stayed involved with the student-run organizations that I talked about before, and then I also kept interning for the School of Journalism. My senior year was unfortunately cut short with the pandemic, but that's okay. I went home and then I started my full-time role in August after my senior year. I didn't get to pick my full-time role. I got a call towards the end of July letting me know that they had this opening on the HR team, and it was an operations-based role. I really didn't know much about it, but I knew I had a ton to learn. Which leads me into my next category of questions is, why did you choose to go back to get your master's? Why did you choose Northeastern, etc.? I have always loved learning, and I fully believe you're never done learning, so I wanted to go back to school to learn more about HR, given I knew I had studied PR and I'd only taken one management class for my business minor that gave me any exposure to HR. And I thought to myself, if this is going to be my career and I really enjoyed my internship experience, I want to make sure that I am set up with the knowledge to be successful down the line. So I started looking into online master's programs that I could do while I was working. There were 3 or 4 schools that I narrowed it down to and applied to just based on what classes they provided, how long the program was, and the expense. And then I ended up choosing Northeastern because I thought it was the best fit for me. Their program is really set up for working professionals who are looking to go back to school part-time, and it's completely online. I obviously needed an online program because I was not about to be going to class and then going to work, which I know a lot of people do. So if you're doing that, kudos to you, but an online program was what was going to work best for me. Also, one of the biggest questions I got was, does Nike pay for my school? And the answer is no. They do offer some tuition assistance, but otherwise I'm covering the majority of my program. I will link Northeastern's program details down below as well, but I have learned so much from this program. I've taken a huge variety of classes, anything from talent attraction to employee benefits and literally everything in HR. And I found myself applying what I'm learning in my day-to-day at Nike, which has been so helpful and just helps me know that it is 100% worth it for me personally to have gone back to school. The next set of questions is about my role day-to-day and my career trajectory. So I know that I want to stay in HR. I'm not exactly sure what I want to do yet. Right now I am a coordinator, which is a new role, so I moved from the operations role into this coordinator role. I support our design and creation employees, and it has been amazing so far to learn more about that side of the business. And I do see myself kind of continuing on the generalist path to become an HR manager and possibly an HR business partner. I'm going to link some resources down below about the general career paths of human resources, and hopefully that is helpful if that's something you're interested in. And as far as my day-to-day, I am just going to plug my TikTok here because I post daily vlogs all the time about what I'm actually doing day-to-day and kind of what my work entails. There's a variety of things that go into my job, but I do recommend following along on TikTok for the more day-to-day. Another question that I got is, do I see myself staying at Nike forever? This is really hard for me to answer because I never want to say I'm going to do something forever, and I'm never going to say I won't do something forever. I just think it's hard to put a label on it. Right now, I'm super happy where I am at the company and in my role. However, one of my biggest dreams and goals is to move to New York City at some point, so I'm putting that out into the universe and manifesting it now so I can come back to this video in 5, 10, 20 years when I'm hopefully living in New York in some capacity and can tell myself I did it. I also just want to address the question of, can I wear Adidas and can I wear competitors' clothes? The answer is I shouldn't. If we're going to campus, we absolutely should not wear competitors' clothing, and we do get a discount on all Nike products, so there's really no reason for us to be buying competitors' clothing. That being said, if you happen to have an Adidas or Under Armour jacket, you're not gonna get fired, but it's definitely frowned upon, especially to wear it on campus. I do love wearing Nike anyway, so it kind of works out in my favor. My last set of questions are, how can I get hired? Do you have resume tips? Can you get me a job, etc.? I've said this on my TikTok, but as much as I would love to get anyone and everyone who wants one a job at Nike, I unfortunately do not possess that power, but I can share about my experience with you to hopefully help in some way. If you message me on LinkedIn or DM me, please don't just ask me for a job. I will absolutely respond to you and try to connect if you tell me a little bit about yourself, what you're looking for, and a specific question you have that's not already addressed on my TikTok or in this video. And that way I can actually help you with some insight into resumes or applications or interviews. I'm also happy to look over people's resumes if you bear with me on the time, because I am trying to get my master's and work full-time, but I really do want to try and help as many people as I can, and I'm rooting for you all on your career aspirations, so please reach out to me if you want with a specific question and a little bit about yourself, and I will try to get back to you as soon as possible. Lastly, I got a ton of questions about productivity, how I manage it all, what it's been like managing school and work. I'm planning to make a separate video on this subject of how I do it all, even though I don't do it all, but I will be making a video at some point about productivity and motivation. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and that it answered a lot of the questions all in one go, and if there's anything I didn't address in this video, feel free to leave it in the comments and I will try to get back to you with an answer. Also, follow me on TikTok and Instagram as I answer questions quite frequently on there as well. Feel free to subscribe. I will post a lot more content like this about work, school, vlogs, motivation, and productivity, and I would love it if you would follow along. So thank you for watching, and I will see you next week.